Good morning and welcome to ATN Blowouts. Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinions and stakeholders analysis. Today we'll be looking at these stories. Insecurity. Army deploys special forces to Benue and others. Tinubu demand actionable reforms, promises resilient economy. Senate approves e-transmission of results, allows manual backup. Atiku Amechi slams Senate over manual results transmission. Ogun PDP chieftain proposes 1.9 billion naira budget for inclusion of disability. And in security, U.S. sends 200 troops to train Nigerian military. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll be going for a short commercial break. When I return, I will introduce my guest for today. Welcome back to Atlantic Blowout. In the studio with me this morning is Mr. Samuel Wochi. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Samuel.
Good morning, Tony. How are you?
I'm okay. How do you do?
I'm very well.
I hope today you didn't come in with guns blazing. Because... All right, let's get into today's stories. Nigerian Army has deployed special trained troops to the Chief of Army Staff Special Intervention Battalion, XV, to Benue, Nasarawa, and Taraba states as part of efforts to strengthen internal security and stabilize vulnerable communities. The troops were deployed as a force multiplier to the Joint Task Force Operation Wellstroke, following the successful completion of an intensive Special Forces training program at the Nigerian Army Training Center. This was contained in a statement signed by the Acting Media Information Officer, Headquarters Joint Task Force, Operation Wellstroke, Lieutenant Ahmed Zubaru, and posted on X on Tuesday by the Nigerian Army. The service said the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Weidu Shuabu, approved their deployment to key formations and operational theaters across the country, including OPWS. Special Forces. If you talk about Special Forces, the first thing that comes to mind usually is, like, in the movies, you see a special team, a special unit who are well trained to stop whatever is going to happen, atrocity that is going to happen. Should Nigerians or should the people in the northern state, especially Benue, Nasarawa state, have such hopes that due to these people, their safety is guaranteed? Or is it just big English, a way to, sparkle up an already bad situation?
Okay, let me start by saying that you seem to underestimate the capacity of the Nigerian Army or the Nigerian military. This is the same military that forms the bulk of our regional organizations, AU, ECOMOG. It's Nigerian Army that was a force behind the success of the activities of the ECOMOG, as well as the military arm of the AU. And you can see that their capacity was evident in the successes they had in keeping the peace in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and what have you. And I think that till date, the Nigerian military is one of the best in Africa, if not the absolute best. Recently, our naval force, was ranked high up, in the world. I think it was among the first 50, a bit 30 there about. So that shows that the Nigerian military has the capacity to get things done. And I think that deploying troops to communities that are vulnerable to the attacks by insurgents is a good move, and I believe that the Nigerian military would rise to the occasion and bring the capacity they have gathered as a result of their training to bear, and then flush out the insurgents and hopefully stabilize the region. Yeah, that's my take on it.
I mean, I don't think anybody in their right senses would undermine either the integrity or the capability of the Nigerian Army. It's not possible. But what we do have a problem with is the oversight and then those lording over these army. Like you rightfully mentioned, when you send them to peacekeeping, whether it's the AU or ECOMOG, whatever it is, they do extremely well. And one would say it's because of how they are being directed. I mean, having a well-trained soldier without a proper commander, what is the essence of his training? Especially when he's not even being allowed to utilize that training properly. In instances where communities are being attacked by, insurgents, and then there's no presence of the army, if they're not being commanded to go over there, they obviously cannot do that. I had a security come in here the other day, and he said, sometimes the reason why an army official could witness a crime right in front of him and do nothing about it is because should he get involved in something without clearance from his oversight or his overlord, right, and then something should happen, he loses his life or a medical emergency occurs, he could be sanctioned. So in these cases, what is the essence of a well-trained officer if he's not being allowed to utilize his training?
Well, Madam T, let me speak in context, and let me use contemporary events to analyze the situation. Yeah, I agree with you that sometimes the issues in command and instructions as well as directives has one of the bane towards the success of the Nigerian army. Yes, I agree with you. But then again, looking at the new system in place, the new managerial system in place, and I'm talking about the service chiefs and the Minister of Defense. I think I heard the Minister of Defense say one time in an interview, I can't remember where, but I heard him say something like, there should be no, you shouldn't wait for an order before combating insurgents. Yeah, you should go ahead and get the job done. That's what he said. Retired General Christopher Musa. So he has given an instruction from top most up, and considering the way the military is hierarchically placed, you understand, it's obvious that the orders will be carried out. So I think that alone has solved the problem of the chain of command, bureaucracy. It's solved the problem to a large extent, and I'm sure that with the new leadership, of the Nigerian military, we'll start seeing results in less than no time.
Okay, so do you see a strategic significance in the deployment of the special forces? I mean, these are people that have been personally trained, just to combat this insurgency in the northern states.
Well, Nigeria as a country have collaborated with the United States of America, more recently Turkey, in a bid to, put an end to the issues that have bedeviled, the country for quite a while now. And one of the agreements of the treaty was intelligence gathering. You agree with me that our partners have more sophisticated machinery to gather intelligence. So for the deployment of this category of troops at this particular point in time, shows that or implies that there has been some sort of intel that has gotten to the Nigerian force, and we wouldn't want to wait till it's acted upon, by the insurgents before we take action. So I feel that this is the preventive measure, to wage off whatever would be coming to those places at this point in time. And like I said, I think it's a good move, and I think that the Nigerian army will rise to the occasion.
Okay, let's move on quickly. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday pledged to forge a resilient economy and inclusive society, urging federal and state governments to convert National Economic Council (NEC) resolutions into tangible benefits for Nigerians. Speaking at the closing of the two-day NEC conference at the Old Banquet Hall in Abuja, President Tinubu, who was represented by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, vowed to press reforms that yield real results. Tinubu hailed Vice President Kashim Shettima's leadership of the NEC and thanked governors, ministers, partners, and private sector players. He stressed deeper federal-state collaboration and disciplined policy execution to realize the renewed hope agenda. Key resolutions from the conference with the theme Delivering Inclusive Growth and Sustainable National Development, the Renewed Hope National Development Plan. The gathering, convened by Budget and Economic Planning Minister Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, drew over 350 delegates, including governors, ministers, Inspector General of Police, lawmakers, and private sector representatives. Permanent Secretary Dr. Deborah Odo read the communique highlighting these priorities: anti-oil theft and security, sustain and expand the NEC Committee's mandate, blend non-kinetic efforts with military ops, targeting unemployment and poverty, bolster interagency ties and state alignment with national security under renewed hope. I mean, beautiful statements, beautiful policies on paper. But I think time and time again, I would say for the people that we have good policies on paper, but implementation, I think we'll score them 4 over 10, if I dare say so. I mean, the president's view, the president's his wishes or his aim, it seems doable. But do we have political leaders? Do we have the political will to make this a reality for the people?
Let me start by reciting a quote in Chimamanda's Adichie, Half of a Yellow Song. She said something. If the sun refuses to rise, we'll make it rise. the Jagaban has proven that he will leave no stone unturned in ensuring that he delivers his mandate to the people. And why you may call him 4/10, that's opinion anyway, but I was calling him 8/10, considering the fact that he has done a lot to improve the economy. Now, when you look at the purpose, you know, of the
Wait, let me clarify something. Let me clarify something. I'm not saying, I'm not, hold on. It's very important that I step in here. I did not say I'm scoring the administration 4/10. I said when it comes to policy implementation in Nigeria, we have good policies, but implementation is poor. If I'm to score, I will score it 4/10.
Well,
and this has got nothing to do with this current administration, but in general.
Let me be explicit.
Okay.
When it comes to policy implementation of the administration, of this current administration, I'm talking about the administration of His Excellency Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. In terms of policy implementation, I will score him an 8/10.
Okay, you will score him an 8/10.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
With policy implementation, I'll score him an 8/10.
Okay.
Because the policies, the economic policies that he has, spoken to the Nigerian people about, he has implemented them. And the ones that has not been implemented them yet are in the works. Now, when you look at the theme of the summit, and look at the purpose behind the summit, you could see that, like the Senate President said, representing the President, he asked the governors who were part of the meeting to partner with the presidency to ensure that they deliver the mandate to the people. And I know that one of those areas where the governors have been dragging their feet on is the implementation of local government autonomy. You're aware that Asiwaju, tried as much as they can to ensure that it comes into a reality, to the extent of even taking the governors to court. The Supreme Court gave a judgment. You can see how intentional he is, how passionate he is about ensuring that the dividends of democracy gets to the grassroots, to the local governments. And some state governors, due to political interest or what have you, have tried to delay the process and all that. And you can see the money has been pleading, that allow these people get their money directly, so that the people that are in the rural areas, people that are vulnerable, can be able to utilize it adequately and judiciously to ensure that the dividends of democracy, gets down to each and every cranny, each nook and cranny of the country. So to me, I think that's a very, very good step. And then you look at issues like NELFON, right? Look at NELFON, look at Credit Corp. The system is running on a credit economy, whereby the government tries to support you, through soft loans and interest free loans and grants, for you to be able to achieve your aim and then give back to the country, either through repayment of the interest free or soft loans, or through tax or what have you. So you could see that the implementations of these policies are actually a reality, and the credit corp program, the NEL fund, even down to the recent agreement with ASU that has seen the ASU strike, come to an end, are all attempts to revitalize the economy. I grew up in a nation where ASU strike was like a culture. Each administration experienced it till this administration came in. And you might not really understand the importance of ASU strike. I
might not really understand the importance.
I was being generic.
Okay, so people might not understand.
Some persons might not understand the importance of ASU, the end of ASU strike. Some persons might not understand the importance of ASU strike. I didn't mean you're too personal with me.
No, you said you might not. So I needed you to clarify that. Okay. Okay.
Some persons might not really understand the importance of end of ASU strike. Maybe they didn't witness it or they didn't experience it firsthand, right? But it changes the game. It changes the game because once the people that are in charge of dispensing knowledge to the students are satisfied, with the government, they are more motivated, to impact knowledge which will be transformed into this, which will be transformed by the receivers of those knowledge and used to earn a living, thereby contributing to the economic growth of the society. So that's a master stroke by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and it should be appreciated. These demands were demands that presidents come, dilly-dally, ignore, try to, force them. He came and he implemented them. And you can see that the union is happy. ASU has been happy, they've been quiet. Which is something that it's almost like a dream. I mean, these are things that we wished for, and it's coming into reality. So I feel that His Excellency should be commended, he should be encouraged, and as Nigerians, we should work together with him to ensure the actualization of the renewed hope agenda, which is aimed at providing the dividends of democracy, taking it down to the grassroots. That's my take.
Okay, I mean, you've actually outlined some key policies that has been implemented or has been implemented by President Tinubu. But then again, it doesn't just take the president to ensure that this implementation comes to pass. Other than the president doing his bit, like you rightfully mentioned, it's a collaborative effort between the president, the executives, and even down grassroots. So if at the executive is being the aim, the wish for it to be implemented is being done, how sure are we that it gets to the grassroots, it gets to the people that need it the most? Because we've had situations where up until now, when it comes to local government autonomy, some local governments are still struggling with their state governments for autonomy over their finances. And sometimes, you know, the intervention, whether it's the court of law, the court's intervention, whether the presidency intervention, it's not doing much to ensure that the case is being handled. Also, you did mention NIL fund. I do understand that, yet at least with NIL fund, it is working. But then again, are you trying to tell me that when it comes to some other policies, down to the T, the dots, the I's are dotted, the T's are, everything is being rightfully implemented, other than the presidency's approach or other than the presidency's part? Are the state governors, are the ministers, are they doing what needs to be done for the people to benefit from these policies?
Well, Madam C, let me be explicit, in my response. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has insisted, keyword, insisted that the dividends of democracy gets to the grassroots. The other day, the APC National had a meeting, right? Had a meeting, and then the President and the governors of the APC were present. I was surprised. His Excellency, in fact, what formed the keynotes of his speech was his insistence on local government autonomy. Now, it's funny, it's something that's supposed to be a party affair, a political party affair, where the president is supposed to talk about the party interests, solely about the party interests, right? The president is still talking about governance. That shows how he's adding pressure on his system to ensure that it bears fruits. And yes, some governors, some people might, do play hanky-panky for their selfish benefits and all that. But I assure you, we're already seeing proofs, that the people in charge of the dispensation of, the process of the local government are under pressure by the president, and they are bowing to that pressure and giving the grassroots what they need. Now, talking about the ministers, I don't want to start scoring the ministers, start comparing this one to this one, start comparing this one to this one. But you can see that some ministers are doing what they can to ensure that they get things done and fulfill their job description to the best of their ability. Look at the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, His Excellency Chief Barrister Ezenwoye Sonwike. He's doing well. He's making sure that he invests heavily, into the capital, and you can see that roads, street lights, things are moving in Abuja, despite a few hiccups here and there. But he's making sure that Abuja thrives. Then you look at what the Minister of Interior is doing there. He's doing a good job. And then you look at the likes of Umahi, the Minister of Works, yeah. Especially when you look at the Lagos Coastal Road. Look at the Lagos Coastal Road. Recently, I heard that they're trying to ensure that parts of River State, from the Ogoni axis, gets into the road. If that's done, Lagos will be like Miami. So you can see that, yes, not everybody is performing his jobs and their duties to the best of their ability. I agree with you. But you can say the president is putting pressure on key stakeholders to ensure that they bring in their best to, contribute to the growth of the economy. And whether we like it or not, if we are truthful to ourselves, you can see that it's producing results, and that is largely because of the efforts, the passionate efforts of His Excellency to ensure that the dividends of democracy gets to the grassroots.
Okay.
And like I said, that should be commended. It's not just about name fund that's been that is nothing is not the only policy that's been implemented to the T. They also satisfaction of also demands have been implemented. You look at credit core. Credit core it has been implemented. It's been implemented. Credit core is being implemented.
But how many of the people are aware of this? It's one thing to have policies on paper. It's another thing for the people to be aware of these policies. Now, I understand those beautiful policies. They are beautiful policies, and if well implemented, would heavily benefits the people. But then again, this is where our orientation board comes in. Not many people are aware of this. If you go to the markets, and you ask the market women, are you aware of anything or something called a credit score? Are you aware of something called a nil fund? You have kids going to school, the universities, right? Personally, I had a conversation about somebody concerning this nil fund, right? His children had to go to university, and she was running around trying to raise the needed money for them to go to university. And I was like, okay, have you heard about this? She was like, no, she's not heard about this. She said she's not heard about this. And then that is how sure mind that is going to work. I was like, okay, try the system. I followed up a couple of days later. She said, oh, the portal has been closed for now. They said it's been closed for now and all that. See, timing is everything. Some may not even be aware of this. And when they come to the realization, by the time they want to ask us that, there will be some bureaucracies. And then next time, exactly like she said, the portal is closed. They're no more taking in any requests. So in such a situation, do you think she'll go in again? So this is where the National Orientation Board comes in. How are the people, how much awareness is available to the people on these policies? It's one thing having these policies, but if the people that these policies were made for are unaware of it, what's the use of it then?
So there are, in life, one of the things that is pertinent to the growth and development of a human being is information. And for you to be able to be aware of opportunities, you need to be intentional about getting information. The same persons you're complaining are not aware of these things on social media, aren't they?
How many market women are on social media? Yeah, I'm referring to I'm not even talking about we tech savvy or social savvy, social app savvy people, youth. I'm not even talking about the youth. I'm talking about the layman. I'm talking about the farmer. I'm talking about the market woman. I'm talking about the bus driver on the street. I'm talking about the layman, the people, the main people who are suffering. Even though we have good policies on paper, even though we have a president that is trying so hard to ensure that the life of his people is easier. So this is what the problem is, because we can have the policies, like I rightfully mentioned, if we do not have, if we do not have ministers, governors, or people in key office positions, if they do not have the willpower to carry the people along, what is the essence of these policies?
Well, Tonya, these people you're talking about, they listen to radio, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Some of them have televisions and they watch televisions, don't they?
Obviously.
The adverts about nail phone and credit card are on mainstream media as well as social media. The people you're talking about have children that are within this age and time and are social media savvy. They can also get this information from there.
Okay.
There's been a deliberate attempt to publicize the policies of this administration, and I'm not even kidding. They hear that on radio. In fact, me personally, as an individual, I have made it a habit or a culture. Wherever I am, if I'm speaking in public, be it on mainstream media, I always speak about nail phone. And if you would observe, we've had interviews a couple of times, I always speak about nail phone. I always speak about credit card. You understand me? Because these are policies that are geared towards the common man. But the common man needs to be open to information. The common man needs to listen to his radio. The common man needs to watch television. The common man needs to read the newspapers. Now, he gave an analogy about, a lady and her children and nail phone and all that. Now, with NEFOND, there's not much bureaucratic process. Once you apply, there's a period for application, and there's a period by which they process your application, and they need time to assess all the applications, get the funds needed for all the applications, and then dispense it, which is not out of place to say the portal is closed for now and it will open at so time.
Okay.
You understand me? So when you talk about bureaucracy, it's not like maybe you're filling a form, you're submitting it, you're bringing 10 guarantors, you're doing that. The process is very, very, very easy. It's easy, it's smooth, it's sweet. It's not something that is hectic. I personally know about 10 people, 10 River State students that are going to school solely on the basis of NEFOND. They use NEFOND to pay their school fees.
Okay.
The institution is not, I can produce them at any point in time. I just need to make 10 calls and they're here with proof of NEFOND. So,
all right.
You shouldn't say, or we shouldn't assume that the government is not doing its best to ensure that these people gets it, right? The government is doing, they're doing what they can. You understand? These policies are being publicized on mainstream media as well as social media. Up to the people at that level to be open to information and not listen to propaganda, because irrespective of the fact that the government is trying to educate the people, some politicians and political actors are putting in lies and propaganda to blacklist the whole thing and ensure that the people don't take advantage of the opportunities. If I hear these crazy stories I heard about the other day, there was a rumor on social media that people that took NEFOND should start paying, and the government has not said anything like that. The National Education Agency had to release an official memo. Now, think of why would someone release a malicious rumor like that? And everybody was just panicking. No, this is not the plan. I thought they said they'll give us some time. Everybody was panicking, but it was a lie, a malicious lie. Imagine how evil-hearted somebody would be to throw the country into a state of confusion.
Okay.
So these are the issues. The common man should be able to, receive information, dissect the information, find out the one that is genuine, and throw away the one that is false.
Okay.
And they shouldn't listen to rumors and market gossip. They should focus on what is credible, what's coming to the mainstream media, right? What's coming to credible social media pages or handles. They should receive it, dissect it, and act on it. Not when I ask you about NEFOND, once somebody just brings a rumor and what, and then you take the rumor over the real thing.
All right.
And then you blame the government for not having the information. Come on, that's not fair.
Okay.
That's not fair.
He said it's not fair. Let's move on. Senate has approved the electronic transmission Senate has approved the electronic transmission of election results to the Independent National Electoral Commission's results viewing portal, while permitting manual collation to serve as a backup where technology fails. The decision followed a reconsideration of a disputed clause in the Electoral Act Amendment Bill during an emergency plenary on Tuesday. However, the upper chamber stopped short of making electronic transmission compulsory and also rejected the provision of real-time upload of results. Under the reviewed section, presiding officers at polling units are to electronically transmit results to the IREF portal after voting and documentation are completed. The amendment, however, provides that where electronic transmission cannot be carried out due to communication or network challenges, the manual results sheet, Form EC8A, will become the primary basis for collation and declaration. I find it confusing and even disheartening that the Senate, even after all the noise, the protests, and then the people hitting to the streets demanding what rightfully belongs to them, demanding that they mandate the real-time transmission of electoral results. What's stopping them? In a country where we do not have constant light, we do not have a strong signal when it comes to our internet services, why would the Senate try to stop the mandatory of real-time election results if not for selfish interest? Samuel, can you please shed light on this? Why are they stopping short of the mandatory electoral transmission?
Well, Tonya, I think that in issues like this, you should be circumspect and try to analyze it objectively, devoid of sentiments and personal opinions. Now, you said there's how did you put it, epileptic power supply in Nigeria, yeah? And you also said we don't have a stable internet signal, yeah? So if you don't have those things, and then you put real-time transmission as the only avenue for result collation, and then these things come into play in process of the election, have you not killed the electionary process?
Okay.
So you see, when you say things like the Senate had selfish interests and all that, the Senate's duty is to make laws and statutes, within the context of the Nigerian space. I mean, that's why we have the Nigerian, right? That is called the Nigerian Senate, and that makes laws for the Nigerian people. It looks at the context of the country, and then it enacts, laws that can be applicable, to the citizens of the country, taking in factors that, are present in the nation as an entity, right? You've just mentioned certain factors that has hindered, our internet stability and our tech savviness. You mentioned it. I didn't.
Yeah, I did mention that.
I did mention it. So if the Nigerian Senate, taking into context these problems that you had mentioned, and realizing that we've not gotten to that point yet, so we can be able to do these things, like we should, or like we would want to, right? Let's have something that we can be able to fall back on in case this thing, messes us up. Because this thing this thing shouldn't, what do they call it? It shouldn't hold our electionary process hostage. It shouldn't. We can't say because of these issues, won't be able to have elections and elect new leaders, after the 4 years period. If not, these issues, they might be so frequent that most places wouldn't be able to transmit results. And then the people that are in power will still have extra time to be in power. And then we'll start saying, it's a ploy by these people to stay in power and all that. Oh, no.
Okay.
So I think that the legislature are trying to, take into context the factors that are prevalent in the Nigerian space, and then create rules and regulations, based on the context, and expand it over time. So that's what I think is happening here.
Okay, so considering that fact, recently we saw I even saw you also, commending how we've been able to electronically register some party members to some political parties and whatnot. As of then, we had stable power supply, we have stable, stable internet, right? That means it's possible for a country like Nigeria. I mentioned that because we've moved to a technology-driven era. Sometimes even POS services work in rural areas, and these rural areas do not have access to internet. These rural areas do not even see power supply most times. But yet still, they are able to go about their businesses. They're able to charge their phones. They're able to make phone calls. They're able to access the internet. POSs are able to work. These same political parties, when trying to register their members, said, oh, we've been able to register millions of people, especially in rural areas and whatnot. It worked then for them, right? Then they could not consider our current situation when it comes to epileptic power supply, when it comes to our unstable internet. But when it comes to reform of our electoral process, certainly it's being used as an excuse to not do the right thing for the people. The people are only crying for free, fair, and transparent election, not when the minor coalition's figures can be changed. They're also against it's being, transmitted in real time. What is stopping them from it being transmitted in real time? Why I mentioned knowing how unstable our electricity can be or our internet can be. I mean, when there's an internet, as long as it's working, let's quickly work things according to how things is done in Nigeria. I mean, they'll tell you that no time to waste time. That's the Nigerian agenda. So the time is there. The internet is working. We have the power at the moment. Obviously, during the early hours, it's going to be there. Why can't we allow for that? Then, should in case Nigeria happens during the time of election, we can now resort to whatever, but can they mandate e-transmission of the results?
Well, Tonya, very interesting arguments. But then again, like I said, I don't think you're putting the context of the realities into perspective. First of all, you spoke about party registration and you're comparing it to elections.
Is it not the same kind of? Is it not the same process? It's not still technology being used. It's not still internet being used. It's not still reaching people in rural areas just to get them to vote for you or to belong to your party. But when it comes to giving the same people their democratic rights, then there is a hindrance.
You asked a question. Allow me answer.
I'm asking the question again.
Now, have you been in Nigeria when elections are going on? Have you seen the pressure in the polling units? And these elections are supposed to be done in one day. Have you seen the pressure?
And is that not why we should rely on technology to ease the pressure?
Have you seen the pressure?
The pressure is there because we are doing things manually.
After it's not just about manually. After the voting process, after the voting, first of all, during the voting process, there's pressure, a whole lot of pressure. Now, imagine that pressure, on the polling unit officer and whatnot, and he's trying to impute results, and the what are they calling it? There's no power supply. There's poor internet service. Do you think the people will listen? I was asking, have you seen? But by right, is
this? No, hold on, Sammy.
I'm coming, please. We should be able to take this into perspective. When you look at the party registration, it took about 3 months, 2-3 months. The process took about 2-3 months, right? So there was leeway. In case today doesn't work, we can try tomorrow. We can, there are arrangements for things like that. Are you suggesting that the election takes 3 months, 2-3 months? Is that what you're suggesting?
What I'm suggesting is that even if it can be done manually in a day, obviously technology can make it way easier to be done in the same. The factors I'm looking at. What are these factors hindering? What are these factors?
Okay, a day's process with a process that took 2 to 3 months. That is not fair. Come on now, we should be able to look at it.
What are you talking? Okay, I'm just saying. Hold on. No, you're not asking. You're not sitting here. You're not sitting here to ask questions. I just ask pertinent questions that I need an answer to. I'm asking pertinent questions that needs answers to. You said we should be devoid of emotions and then personal opinion. So please just take out emotions from this and let's take facts clear. The facts are this. The facts are this. Okay.
Let's allow elections to take 2 to 3 months. Should elections run for 2 to 3 months in Nigeria? Imagine voting. Let's say we're voting for a governor, and it takes 2 to 3 months for us to finish voting. In view of putting
I think you're being political in this context because you're being political in this context. It's a simple situation.
You're very funny.
I'm glad I'm making you laugh about a very serious situation. I don't know what's funny about it. You're being political. No, you said to take out sentiment and personal agenda.
You compared the electionary process
with
registration.
Mr. Woji.
And I'm telling you that the two are not the same. And I'm giving you instances. I'm telling you how the two are not the same.
Samoji, let me finish. Hold on. No, hold
you
on.
asked me because I'm not done answering.
No, you're done answering.
I'm not done
You
answering.
are done answering. We can go for a commercial break. Should we go for a commercial break to give you time?
I'm still answering.
No, you're done answering. We're going
for.
for a commercial break. When we return, we'll delve into some of the stories. All right, welcome back to ATN Blowout. Things got a bit intense in the studio, so we had to go for a short commercial break. But we're back, and I feel somewhat you've cooled off a bit.
I've always been fine.
Okay. Finally, in less than 30 seconds, on this particular topic, the Senate not mandating the electronic transmission of its... Why?
Well, like I said, the Senate took into context the realities of Nigeria, which include factors that you had mentioned earlier, and that is why they made a decision based on the factors that are available to them. And premise on the foregoing, I think that it's essential that we have a backup in case the factors that are prevalent at the moment, disrupts the electioneering system. Nigerians, the electioneering process is a very integral part of the Nigerian system and should not be held hostage by factors that are beyond our control. So I think that providing a backup plan in case of the eventuality of those factors is a good step, and I think that the Senate should be commended.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Senate on Tuesday bowed to intense public pressure and approved the electronic transmission of election results to the Independent National Electoral Commission's result viewing portal IREV, while permitting manual collation to serve as backup where technology fails. The decision followed an emergency reconsideration of disputed clause in the Electoral Act's Repeal and Reenactment Amendment Bill 2026, after days of nationwide outrage, street protests, and sustained criticism from opposition figures, civil society organizations, and youth movements. However, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar also slammed the Senate over the manual transmission clause at a press briefing in Minna, Niger State, following a closed-door meeting with former military President General Ibrahim Babangida. Atiku said the current mixture of electronic and manual transmission could create challenges for voters and electoral officials. Also lending voice is former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi, who joined protesters at the National Assembly, warning that real-time transmission could save lives. Amechi joined protesters on Tuesday at the National Assembly complex in Abuja, demanding that the proposed amendment to the Electoral Act explicitly required the Independent National Electoral Commission to transmit results electronically in real time from polling units. In this, I think I like the parts of, I'll start with the Amechi paragraph where he stated that if the Senate should follow on this path, we're going to see lives being lost during elections. And that's not far-fetched. This is a situation that has happened over and over again in past elections. We've seen people in trying to steal ballot boxes harm defendants of those ballot boxes. Wouldn't one say, or wouldn't you think that trying to mandating the electronic transmission of results could end some of these predicaments, especially for polling unit officials whose lives are sometimes endangered?
Well, before I proceed to answer that question, I find it funny coming from somebody. I find that funny coming from somebody, from the person of His Excellency, the former governor of River State and former Minister of Transportation, super minister under the Barry's administration, His Excellency Rotimi. It's funny because Rotimi Amechi had influence, first as a governor, tremendous influence. First as a governor, he was the chairman of the Governor's Forum, and also as a minister, the super minister in the government of Muhammadu Buhari. So during those times, I didn't hear him push for what he's pushing for now. So is it that during that time he knew that lives were being lost and he didn't care because he was in power? Is that what he's saying?
By then, did we have that technology? During his time, did we have that technology? Was that technology in place?
Really?
I'm asking a question.
That technology, how advanced was?
I mean, not the world. In this context, taken from your previous assessment, you did say that the Senate is taking into consideration the Nigerian atmosphere and trying to not mandate the electronic transmission of results. I mean, we have epileptic power supply, we have unstable electricity and what's not. So that means that is the reality of Nigeria in some context, even though I believe that where there is a will, there will be a way. If we have epileptic power supply, there could be standby generators. If we have don't tell me how to go about my show, please. If we have unstable electricity, internet, they could. I mean, we have telecommunications that could want to, sponsor these elections if they will be, like I said, if there is a will. If there is a will, I'm talking about giving internet. You should allow me finish.
External bodies access to a process as important as the Nigerian election.
Sammy, if you're not in a hurry to try and then make I don't know.
I'm listening to you.
You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening to understand. You're listening to talk. I feel like you're listening to talk, not to understand. I said in a situation where the nation's electoral integrity is at stake. If there is a will, there will be a way. We have telecommunications working in Nigeria. If the government wanted to, they could buy broadband. They could buy. I mean, if you have in your house, if you have bad internet connection, you do buy modem, you do buy internet broadband, you do buy devices that could aid in your internet to be stronger. Yes or no? So are you trying to tell me that a federation like Nigeria cannot have access to something like that when it comes to polling units? I'll leave that to you to answer, but that's not it. The question here is this. The question I asked you, you can answer when you're talking. I asked you a simple question. During Rotimi Amechi's time, did Nigeria as of then have technology based or a technology used for elections?
When you say during Rotimi Amechi's time, Rotimi Amechi was 3 years ago. Let's not forget, it's not 10, 15 years ago. Rotimi Amechi was 3 years ago.
Was his time to 3 years ago? Was it not 3 years ago? Was it not the current FCT minister? I mean, the FCT minister served for 8 years before we have our current governor. So if you're saying that Rotimi Amechi was 3 years ago, are you not
super minister, one of the
super ministers? Okay.
In Buhari's administration.
Okay.
And had the capacity to do whatever he could.
He could. Are you sure? He was a minister of transportation, if memory serves me right.
One of the most influential ministers.
Minister, but yet influential. But how influential is he when it comes to elections?
Well, let's not talk about politics.
Okay.
Let's not shift that thing. We're talking about INEC. Let's not shift that attention into politics so that I won't say some things I'm not supposed to say. Now, like I said, Rotimi Amaechi's time it's not in the 80s. It's recently. It's still contemporary, right? And he didn't advocate for these things. So the question should be, why didn't he advocate for them as of then? Why now? Why didn't he advocate for them? Does it mean that he knew that lives were being lost in Nigeria and he didn't care because he was in power? Obviously, that's what it seems. You know, when the going was good, he didn't think about lives being lost and all that. Now it seems like he's no longer benefiting from the system. He's now advocating for, what he's advocating for. I mean, that doesn't make sense, and that reveals his personal and selfish interest into his advocacy or his so-called advocacy. That's what it seems. Okay. But that's not what we're talking about. You mentioned something about Nigerian getting broadband and all that. Well, I'm not saying, I don't know, maybe I'm not that exposed technologically, but I've not seen a service that can cover the entire 36 states of Nigeria at a time, considering the population and the size we have. And also, if you make a deal with the telecommunications agency, like you rightfully said, won't they have access to the back from the back end and have the opportunity to change or unchange some certain things?
So you mean to say if I should no, you're trying to twist my words. I did not. I will not let you twist my words. You can finish, but please do not twist my words. I did not say that at a goal.
You keep on interjecting.
I keep interjecting because you keep twisting out. You keep twisting my questions and my words and the facts, and I will not sit here and allow that to happen.
I'm trying to get clarity.
You can gain clarity.
Your purpose.
Yes, but please do not twist my words.
I'm not twisting your words.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that regardless of the fact that you're trying to, do what we can with our electionary system to ensure that it is free, fair, and transparent, we should not jump from the devil into the deep blue sea, right? We should not hand over the integrity of our electionary system, to a non-state actor that may or may not be influenced by factors beyond our control. We shouldn't do that. We should be very, very careful. These are delicate times.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand me. So the statement about Rotimi Amaechi, about saving lives and all that, I think Rotimi Amaechi should explain to Nigerians why he did not advocate for things like this when he was in power, from when he was governor to him being a super minister in the last administration. He should explain to Nigerians why was it because maybe he knew that lives were being lost and he didn't care about it. So I think that Nigerians should scrutinize his statement and then Rotimi Amaechi has the keys to answer. Okay. He should tell Nigerians why he made that statement and where did he get those observations from. If lives were lost under his watch, he should come and tell Nigerians and why he kept quiet when lives were being lost. Okay. Rotimi Amaechi should come and speak to Nigerians. That's my take.
All right. For clarity purpose, I did not say that we should hand over a sensitive issue as our electoral process to third parties. What I did say is that they should provide internet. When I say provide internet, the state can get it from them. In every homes, when our internet is not stable, we have other means of stabilizing our internet. So I want to think that a federation like Nigeria could have access to this as well, to ensure that if the need be, internet will be stable in all the polling units, the 36 states. And I think it's a doable process. It's not something that is mind-boggling. Other nations have done it. African nations have done it. Some, I'm not asking you a question. Other nations have done it. Nigeria can do too, if there is a will. If there is a will, there will always be a way. Moving on quickly to Ogun State. Ogun State chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and convener of the alternative movement, Segun Sowunmi, has condemned the shabby treatment of people living with disabilities in the state. Sowunmi, in a statement posted on his Facebook page on Monday, decried the exclusion of people living with disabilities, saying that not much has been done to erase or to ease their challenges and help them live a dignified life. Sowunmi said that disability inclusion is not charity, but smart governance, economic sense, and a constitutional responsibility under Nigeria's Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act. To improve the fortune of the disability community in the state, Sowunmi has submitted a proposal for a 1.9 billion naira annual budget to address some of the challenges confronting these groups. Sammy, what do you have to say concerning this? I mean, inclusion of disabilities, disabled people in Nigeria. Would you say that when it comes to this instance, they are deeply neglected and overlooked?
Well, I think that the Nigerian government can do more for people living with disabilities by providing critical infrastructure that will be able to aid their movement from place to place and also their day-to-day activities. And I'm confident that it's in the works, and I'm sure that it will materialize in no time.
Okay, and then do we have the? I mean, he's asking for 1.9 billion naira to be included in their budgetary. Do you think it's also a doable policy for the people? I mean, we've seen, especially even in sports, the disabled sports, the budget allocated to them and what's not, it's been overlooked. I had some persons in my studio some time ago talking about this, and they're doing so well. They are representing Nigeria so well, but most of the time, they or even NGOs have to help them bear the cost associated with some of these sports. So when it comes to Nigeria, do you think that more can be done? And is 1.9 billion naira enough to allocate for this?
Are we talking about Ogun State or are we talking about Nigeria?
In Ogun State, and also it's been implemented in the whole of Nigeria as well, even in our national budget as well.
If you're talking about it being implemented nationally, I'm sure that it's something that is doable and workable. But if you're asking me about Ogun State, I don't have an idea of the revenue generated from Ogun State. I don't have an idea about the workings of Ogun State. What I know about Ogun State is what I read, on through newspapers and other mainstream, and information I get from other mainstream and social media.
Okay.
I've not been to Ogun State. I don't know the realities of Ogun State, so I can't tell if it is feasible or not. But I'm sure that there should be a place for it in the Nigerian system as a federation. And I'm sure that opportunities should be created, for people that fall under such nomenclature.
Okay. All right, let's move on. U.S. Congressman Rep. Riley Moore has disclosed that the United States is sending 200 troops to Nigeria to train its military to fight Islamic militants. Moore made this disclosure during an interview on Fox News on Tuesday. According to him, sources on ground have told him that the situation in Nigeria is a bloodbath. According to the congressman, as many as 300 have been killed throughout the region of Nigeria, with a priest being kidnapped as well as 10 of his parishioners. He also pointed out a lot of those killed as well were Muslims refusing to submit to Sharia law. Summary. U.S. seems to have a major interest in what's happening in Nigeria. Are you an advocate for this?
An advocate for what?
The U.S. and then Nigeria's continuous collaboration in fighting militancy and then banditry and then kidnappings in the northern states of Nigeria.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Any collaboration, any partnership between Nigeria and any entity, anybody, any nation that will be geared towards ending insecurity in Nigeria is something I would support wholeheartedly. Keywords, emphasis on the words, partnership, collaboration, and cooperation between Nigeria and any foreign body to solve the insecurity issues. I'm in full support of it because lives are being lost and we should do what we can to protect the lives and properties of the citizens of this great nation.
Okay. Somehow, we've seen that U.S. has had this view of Nigeria when it comes to the killings. I'm particularly happy that the Congressman Riley Moore was able to pinpoint that it's not only Christians that are being killed.
Oh, you're happy?
It's not only Christians that are being killed, that some Muslims are also being killed for refusing Sharia laws. So that means that it's basically, is this a religious killing based on the fact that they are trying to force Islamic laws on the people. So if you're a Muslim who is going against it, they will kill you. If you're a Christian, obviously, then you are their target as well, because they want an exclusive Islamic state. Now, we've seen how this can also look to our international communities and international bodies. Would you say that in this regard, Nigeria has done a lot in terms of cleaning the image being branded about us in the international community?
Well, I take exception to usage of the term cleaning the image. I feel it should be, I feel the statements does not suit the realities of what's happening. I think I'd appreciate it more if you had said something like Nigeria has done its best in explaining the true realities on ground. Cleaning the image sounds more like whitewashing, and I don't think that's what we're trying to do. The truth is, like I said, I'm happy that you said what you said earlier. Like I said, I always maintain that Nigerians are the ones being killed. Nigerians, first of all, Nigerians are the primary targets of the insurgents, and both Christians and Muslims are victims, of the havoc being wreaked upon the nation by the insurgents. And I'm glad that the outside world is beginning to understand the realities of what's going on, and they're collaborating with the country to ensure that they get things done. The issue of insurgency, banditry, terrorism is a global issue, and the countries all around the globe, experience these issues, in one way or another. And sometimes collaborating with the country to solve these issues, by extension, is solving your own issues, because these people are crazy. They have a way to network, and get hands from one group. That's how they work. They have this crazy system, and I think that collaborations with Nigerians by foreign bodies to assist Nigerians in solving these issues, also by extension helps to solve their issues, because it shows that they have a strong stance against terrorism, and they fight it everywhere they can. So, like I said, the partnership, emphasis on the word partnership and collaboration, it's welcome, and I'm sure that in no time the issues or the dilemma we find ourselves in will be a thing of the past. And I don't think that the Nigerian government is doing any whitewashing of any kind. What the Nigerian government is doing is explaining, its issues to the outside world, and appealing that it should not be quoted out of context. And I think that as Nigerians, as a people, we should tell our story our way, and we should be able to tell the truth by ourselves, and not fall prey or victim to any sort of propaganda by a sect or a group of people with selfish interests.
Okay, I think I like the part you said that Nigerians as a people should be invested in fighting its problems, without... I understand the need for partnership, especially with a country like US, whose purpose or main purpose is to police some of these countries, some of countries that have like insurgency and whatnot. But one will say, or one will ask, why are we not collaborating with our African countries? Because like you said, this is a regional problem. Nigeria shares borders with lots of these countries. We're talking about Benin, we're talking about Niger, we're talking about Chad, we're talking about this, we're talking about that. Very close, close allies. Even, let's say, Togo, Ghana, all of these are closer to Ghana, to Nigeria than the US. So if Nigeria should be overcome by insurgency, that means it's going to spread slowly to the other regions in West Africa, or even some of these other countries and all that. When Benin had an issue, Nigeria intervened. So why are we not collaborating with our African countries or sister countries to ensure that we have a strong military presence and we're able to kick out those insurgencies without the European and Western world influence?
First of all, we need to understand our country, Nigeria. Whether we like it or not, Nigeria is the big brother of Africa. But the country all countries come to for assistance, right? Yeah, we are that good. Our military is the best in the continent, or one of the best in the continent. These countries are collaborating with them by receiving intel from them, and they're helping us monitor the system and regulate the system. But then again, well, I would want to say certain things because we're on TV, so I would want to be quoted out of context. But I think that collaborating with people who are advanced in terms of technology, than us, is the shortest and fastest way to be able to get the job done. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Blowout. Again, thank you very much, Samuel, for always making Blowout segments with you interesting.
Well, thank you very much, Tonya, for having me. I hope that you reduce the constant bully on me next time.
All right, you said I'm bullying him, but I know I'm not. Anyways, we are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X, Atlantic TV Nets. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Open conversation comes up shortly. Please don't go away. Thank you for watching. I am Antonia Arsabil.
Even when I fall your hand, you still there hold my hand. Lover of my soul, you know they break my heart. I'll sing about your mercy, I'll sing about your grace. Now you they bust my brain every night and day. Daddy where they pamper, daddy where they bless. Forever you're my father, now you they give me rest. When I look around, I see your faithfulness. I bow down on my knees, 'cause now you will be the best. I'll sing about your mercy, sing about your grace. Now you they bust my brain every night and day. Daddy where they pamper, daddy where they bless. Forever you're my father, now you they give me rest. When I look around, I see your faithfulness. I bow down on my knees, 'cause now you sing. Even when I fall your hand, even when I fall your hand, you still there hold my hand. Hey, lover of my soul, you know they break my heart. I'll sing about your mercy, sing about your grace. Now you gave us my brain every night and day. Daddy where they pamper, daddy where they bless. Forever you're my father, now you they give me rest. When I look around, I see your faithfulness. I bow down on my knees, 'cause now you will be blessed.
You fully load me with benefits. Every day of my life, I dey collect back to back, woto woto.